All right, I don't remember if I said this. So I'm going to say it again, even if it's on video now. Don't take the test after Friday. Technically, the testing center will let you take it. I need the weekend to correct it. Okay, so if you take it late, you're going to get a penalty. Technically, I couldn't close it till Monday. I'm passing them back on Monday. If you take it Monday, you're going to get a 0 on the computer part. So please make sure that's done. But I need time over the weekend to correct those. So, all right. Now, here's what I want to ask you a question. Find the z-score such that the area to the right is 0.4332. Basically, we're going to continue so we're going to cover 7.2 today. It really flows together with 7.1 really well. Now, I'm hoping that I'm getting you guys used to drawing pictures, because let me just say this, let me turn out the light. Drawing pictures is going to help you out so much, okay? Now, what I said here is I want the area to the right, this area here, to be 0.4332, okay? So let's go ahead. I'm probably going to be passing out these pink sheets for all quizzes from now on. Oh, shoot, I forgot to do that. So we've got our picture here. So just remember look at this picture here. It tells you the area to the left. Okay, I'm asking you for the area to the right. Okay, so if 0.4332 is to the right, what is to the left? Point what? I think it's 5668, right? Okay. Now there's a few different ways to do this. This is probably the easiest way. So you want 0.5668. So basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using this chart backwards. I need to find 0.5668. And actually that's as close as I'm going to get here. Okay. So that's 0.1. And then if I go to the top, 0.17. You see that? 0.5675. That's as close as I'm going to get. So I'm going to get 0.17. Okay. Now, don't confuse that. That looks like a percent, right? But it's not. It's a z-score. Okay? Now, another way you could do this is you could remember, oh, I have symmetry, right? So one of the things I could do is I could say, well, I'm going to look up 0.4332, but this time, remember, it's going to be to the left. Okay? So if I look up 0.4332 on the chart, or something close to it, 0.43, that's about right there, right? Which happens to be negative 0.17.
So what did you put it on the left side?
It's negative 0.17. Now, I would have to remember not to use the negative, but because of symmetry, that could help me find the positive value because of symmetry. Does that make sense? And did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, yes?
So the other chart finds the area to the right.
T-score finds it to the right. I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to mess you up yet. We'll mess you up next week. Okay? All right. Now, third way to do this, and the most accurate way, is to use my friend Excel. Okay? So go ahead and just open up a blank sheet here. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I'm sharing this. All right, I'm sharing now. Okay, so the command, I should have written it on the board before it got small. The command that you're going to want to remember is norm as inverse equals, basically, okay? So the Excel command works exactly like the chart, okay? Now, here's the rule, and I've got this on video so I can prove that I said this in class, okay? The rule is, if you're doing a computer test, use the computer functions. If you're using the written test, you're going to use the tables that I'm going to pass out on the pink sheets, okay? Now, the tricky part is I'm going to give you these pink sheets for the computer test. Don't use the chart, other than if you want to use the chart to remember, does it shade to the left, shade to the right, that's fine. Don't use the table, okay? The table is going to be less accurate than Excel. Okay, so in this case, here's what I'm going to say. Excel works exactly as the table does. It tells me the area to the left. Okay, so do I put in 0.5668 or do I put in 0.4332? 0.5668 in this case. Okay, so now, by the way, there's also another command that has periods in it, norm.s.inverse. It's a little bit harder to use. If you can use it, but this is easier. So use the one without periods. Norm s dist, okay? And then it asks you, no, I put not is, dist. Norm s inverse. We will use dist later today too. Norm s inverse, it asks you for a probability. I'm going to put in 0.5668, okay? So remember on the table it gave me 0.17. Now I'm going to get 0.168. So Excel is going to be more accurate. Does that make sense? Question? Did you have a question?
No. No, my question was about the ones with the dots, but you answered.
Yeah, you can use it if you want me to show it to you. I never remember. Norm.s.dist. No, inverse. Maybe this one doesn't matter. Oh, this one doesn't matter. The ones with the period is norm.s.dist. That one works a little differently. So you can put in 0.5668. Yeah, this one's okay. It'll give you the same one every time. The other command that we're going to use is norm as dist. This is the one I say don't use the periods because it's a little harder to use. But it will give you the same answer if you do it right. All right, I really wish I knew where my notes were. Well, we'll do this one because I remember this problem. Oh, actually, I know what it is. Find middle 90% of the curves, the normal curves, z-scores. Okay? It's a good thing I just taught this, so I remember what all the examples are. I'm going to pick on Gentry. What's the first thing you should do? Oh, she gave the right answer. How about? Give her a high five. Virtual high five. There you go. Thank you, Gabriel. All right. So we're going to draw a normal curve. Okay. Now, what am I shading?
The inside 90%.
Okay. Thank you, Gentry. The inside 90%. So I want this area here. Okay. Very good. Now, what does the table tell me? Does it tell me the middle? No, what does it tell me? It tells me the ends. So if I've got the middle 90% here, how much do I have in these two tails? Got 10%. How much do I have in this tail? 5% and 5% over here, right? Okay, so I can use that to my advantage. If I'm using the chart, let's go back to the chart. Okay, what value am I looking up on here? Click on Ethan. 0.05, okay. So where is that? Okay, am I using the chart backwards or forwards?
I'm using it just like it is.
So 0.05 here?
No, on the.
No, I'm looking in here. I'm using it backwards. Okay? So 0.05, 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm getting close. Now, do you see that it's smack dab in between? Whoa. Smack dab in between those two numbers. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay? So in this case, I would split it. If it's closer to one or the other, I'll probably just use whichever one or one the other is closer to. So I've got negative 1.6. And it's in between the 4 and the 5. So negative 1.645. And what's this value? 1.645 because of symmetry. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's go back to the example that we used last Thursday. Just as a reminder, let's say that toddlers have a mean height of 38.72 inches and a standard deviation of 3.17 inches. And I want you to find the probability that a toddler is between 35 and 40 inches tall. Okay? Let me turn this so you can see, kind of see. It's going to be a very small thing. Okay? Alrighty then. Let's pick on Michael. Almost called you Matthew. Michael. What would we do first?
Draw a picture.
Draw a picture. You guys are answering the question so good. My other class didn't answer it nearly as well as you guys did. Okay, so what's the mean of my picture?
38.72.
38.72. What am I trying to shade?
Between 35 and 40, right?
So 35 will be over here. 40 will be over here. I want this area here. How do I find that area?
Take the z-scores of 35 and 40.
Okay. So I'm going to need two z-scores. I'll let you do one of them. I'll let somebody else do the other. What's the first one?
So you do 40 minus 38.72 divided by 3.17.
Over 3.17. That gives you an answer of, oh, I can't look at my paper because I don't know what I did with it. I'm going to say 0.40. Is that 0.40?
Yeah.
Okay. Marin, what's the other one?
35 minus 38.72 divided by 3.17.
Divided by 3.17. That equals, I want to say, negative 1.17. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh. All right. Good thing I taught this once already today. I never remember any of this stuff. I don't know why I remember it today. All right. So now what? Spencer, it must be your turn.
You find the area using the charts.
Okay. Okay, we're going to do this with the chart. We're also going to do it with the computer type. Okay? How would you use the chart?
So you're going to find
0.40, right? What's that number there, which is? Okay, so this corresponds to a value of 0.6554. And Jessica, what do you think? What's the next step? Negative 1.17, and that is? What'd you say?
0.04.
What's the negative 1.17? 0.12. Can you see that right there?
Yeah, barely.
Barely. 0.1210. Do you see that? Okay, and now what? What do you think, Christopher?
Take the 0.65 and subtract.
We're going to subtract those two values, and I'm going to get 4, 4, 3, 5. Okay? So about half of toddlers, 0.5344% of them, or 0.5334 of them, are going to be between 35 and 40 inches tall. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, would you like to learn how to do that with Excel? Okay, here's how we're going to do that with Excel. All right, so we're going to need to still find our z-score. So z for the 35, or the 40, equals 40 minus 38.72 divided by 3.17 gives us a square. Okay, so 0.40. Yeah, we got more digits, so we're a little bit more accurate. The z for the 35 is going to equal 35 minus 38.72. 38.72 divided by 3.17. Make sure you use your parentheses. That can be a thing that messes people up. Gives me negative 1.17. So I got both of my z-scores here. Okay. Now, the command we're going to use is norm as dist. Norm as dist. Use the one without periods. The one with periods you could use, but it's a little harder to use. Norm as dist. Okay. So remember with the 0.40, we got 0.6554. This is going to be 0.6568. So that one's off a little bit. Okay. We use the same command here. We got 0.1210. Now we got 0.1202. Okay. You're still going to subtract them. The top one minus the bottom one, 0.5365. So we're off a little bit. Okay. Which one's more accurate, the table or the computer? The computer's more accurate. Okay? So what's the rule?
Use the computer and
Computer on the computer test, table on the paper test. Okay? So you need to know both methods. So practice it on your homework. All right. So let me do one more here. Find the 20th percentile of toddlers. Height. I think it's Carl's turn. How would you do such a thing?
Draw a picture.
Draw a picture. Man, you guys are just on fire today with that. Okay? What are we drawing a picture of?
The 20% of that.
20%. I should have asked you, was it on the left or on the right? Did I draw it right or wrong?
It's on the left.
It's on the left, so I drew it right. Okay? So I want 20% to be here. So if I'm using the chart, what do I do?
You look up. You can use backward. You look up.
We're looking up the chart backwards. 0.2. That's pretty close to that one, right? So that seems like a pretty good one. So that's negative 0.84. You see that? Okay. So that number there is pretty close. So this value here works out to be negative 0.84. Okay. Now, of course, what's the mean in this case? 0. Now, I want to convert it such that the mean is what? 38.72, and then I need to figure out what that value is, right? How do I convert it from a standard normal to a regular normal? What? The z equation. What's the z equation? Who's got it memorized?
Minus the mean over the standard deviation.
X minus mu over the standard deviation, which is sigma. Okay? All right, so I'm glad that Caitlin has that memorized. You technically don't have to memorize it, but you should use it so much that you'll memorize it. Okay? All right, so now, how do I plug this in, Carl?
So, what your mean is 38.72.
So you're starting on the right side, negative 38.72.
And we'll z-score is z the 0.84.
Ah, very good. Z is the negative 0.84.
Negative 0.84, right?
Okay?
And you want to find x, right? You want to find x. X you
Just leave the X alone.
and then your standard deviation is 3.17.
3.17. You're all good at algebra, right?
No.
No? You should be. You're in trouble if you're not. Okay? We expect that you're all good enough with algebra that you can solve for x. Shall I ask Adam to do that since he said no?
Probably should.
Okay, how do you solve that for x?
Multiply both sides by 3.17.
Multiply both sides by 3.17.
With the denominator.
3.17, and then
Now add
add
negative 38.72.
positive 38.72.
I'll add negative.
38.72. Remember the plus and the minus, they cancel each other, so that goes to 0, right? Okay, so really I get x equals that big mess there. I'm going to use my favorite calculator, Excel, to do this. Equals 3.17 times negative 0.84 plus 38.72 equals 36.05. So we can now say that this question mark is no longer a question mark. It's 36.05 inches tall. So you would expect toddlers to be 36 inches tall, basically. Okay? Now, what if I didn't give you the chart? How would you do this? What's that?
I use the computer.
Use the computer. How do you use the computer? What command do I need to use? It's on the board.
The first one.
The first one, which is
Norm.
norm S inverse. Okay. Notice it's asking for a probability. What probability am I putting in here? 0.2, 20%, 20th percentile. That's negative 0.841. I got negative 0.84, so those are very close. Excel's a little bit more accurate now. In fact, if I just change this, instead of typing in the negative 0.84 here, I click on my new value, we'll see how different it is from 36.05. It's not really very different. Okay, what'd you say?
Why was it 17?
3.17, so that's your standard deviation. Okay? Yes.
I'm sorry, can you just tell me again what that x is? That we just found something. What is it?
What the x is?
Yeah.
That's the proportion of toddlers that are in the 20th percentile. So 20% of toddlers are 36 inches or smaller. And 80% are larger than that. Okay? Yes.
Could you just click over the equation that you used?
This one here?
No,
This one here. Norm S inverse.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I put in the 20%. Okay?
how'd you get the
Yeah, the
top one?
36.
The top one is after I did all my algebra on paper. So I solved for x, 3.17 times negative 0.84 plus 38.72. Now, just as a reminder, okay, as far as the test goes, I'm pretty sure I said you can have one piece of scratch paper on the computer test. If I didn't, and you want to take it on Wednesday, on tomorrow, because, and this is being recorded, so you can show this to the testing center personnel because they're very Nazi. If I forget to say that you can have a piece of scratch paper and you want to take it Wednesday, tell them to call me and they sit and say it was okay, I promise. And you can even show them this video if I get it posted in time. Okay? So yes, you can always have one piece of scratch paper on the computer test. Sometimes I forget to put that on there, but I try not to. Okay? We get done early. How come? That's weird. All right. So do you have any other last questions? Okay. So tomorrow is going to be a review. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Tomorrow is going to be a review. You can take the computer test Wednesday, Thursday, drop dead Friday. The written test will be Thursday in class. Yes.
Can you just remind me what the chapters are?
We stopped at 7.2. 7.2 is the last one we stopped on. 5.5, is that what it was? It shouldn't be a bad test. I really should have made it longer, but that's all right. Hopefully,